All right, so now I'm going to go over factor by grouping. First thing I'm going to point out is that there are 4 terms here, not 3 terms. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. That's how you know that you're going to have to factor by grouping. The first step in all factoring is always the same. You're going to look for a common factor. So I look at 20, 5, 12, and 3, and there's no number that goes into all of those, and there's no variable that goes into all of those. So I can jump straight to my next step, which would be to group. The reason this is called factor by grouping is because you're going to group the first 2 and group the last 2. So now I'm just looking at these first 2, and I'm going to see what they have in common. So 20m cubed plus 5m squared, I can take out a 5m squared. 20 divided by 5 gives me 4. M cubed divided by m squared gives me an m. And 5m squared divided by 5m is 1. So I've dealt with that group. Now I'm going to look at this group. And I'm going to say what goes into negative 12m and negative 3. So just when saying that, I could tell that there was a negative in common. And then 3 goes into both of those. What I'm left with is 4m plus 1. Because negative 12 divided by negative 3 is positive 4. And negative 3 divided by negative 3 is positive 1. Now, when you're factor by grouping, you want to have the same group when you do this. Meaning this here must match this here. And since they match, we can actually factor them out. We can take that out and put 4m plus 1. And since I'm pulling it out of here and pulling it out of here, I'm left with 5m squared minus 3. So that is my final answer because there's no common factor here, no common factor here, and everything is factored. I'm going to slide on over to this next one. That one is a difference of squares. We talked about this yesterday. So they have nothing in common, but they both are perfect squares. So our perfect square of 4, or 4 is a perfect square, and that's 2x times 2x. 9 is 3 and 3. And because we want that middle term to be 0, we want everything to cancel out in the middle, we know that 1 has to be a positive and 1 has to be a negative. And again, remember this was called difference of squares. All right, one more factor by grouping here. So the first step in all factoring questions is to see if there's a common factor amongst all of them. And right away I see 40, 25, 280, and 175, and I believe 5 goes into all of those, so let's check. 40 divided by 5 is 8x cubed. 25 divided by 5 is 5x squared. 280 divided by 5 is, let's see, 5, 6, so 56x. And 175 divided by 5 is, let's see, 35. So I notice that I have 4 terms here, so that tells me I'm going to do factor by grouping. This group right here has an x squared in common. So I'm going to take out an x squared, and I'm left with 5x plus 5. This group right here has, what goes into 56 and 35? I think it's 7. Let's see. 56 divided by 7 is 8, and 35 divided by 7 is 5. Good. Now remember, with factor by grouping, you want your groups to match. If they don't match, then you either made an error or this does not factor. So these do match up, and I have 8x plus 5 that I'm taking out of both of them because they both share the same thing. And what's left? X squared plus 7.